Golden Daughter, Part 2. Lortel is a girl who understands human greed better than anyone else. Her proper moment to shine doesn't come until after Unica's exit in Act 2, but she still makes her presence known from Act 1. However, there's a marked difference between her role before and after Act 1, as Lortel's infamy encountered during the first act was quite notorious. Bad Ending Maker, Yunubi Crusher, by developers Malevolence. Well, there are other descriptors, but those who've encountered Lortel in Act 1 uniformly spit out such indignant words. Now, my newbie days are a distant memory, but even thinking back, I can feel my stomach churn at how badly I was burned by Lortel in Act 1. At that point in the story, getting entangled with this character meant an unavoidable bad ending without question. During the Tailies class assignment test event, you can save Lortel from a surprise attack by kobolds. But in the process, you witness Lortel's secret. Then, Lortel sends someone to kidnap Tailie from school, resulting in Tailie's disappearance. That's bad ending number 2. In the episode of Monster Tribe Subjugation Practice, there's an opportunity to be in the same group as Lortel. If you choose Lortel over your childhood friend Ayla, Ayla will fall off a cliff to her death. Why? Why? Because there's supposed to be an event where Tailie, being in the same team, quickly saves Ayla from slipping off the edge. If you're in a group with Lortel, that event won't happen, and thus Ayla falls. That's bad ending number 7. In the joint combat practice event, there's an option to throw yourself in front of a high-ranking fire spirit summoned by Yenika to protect her. But doing so will result in being severely burned. That's bad ending number 13. During the Student Council's operation to retake Glascan in the Monster Subjugation event, if you use the true point suggested by Lortel, you'll end up ambushed by various spirits and lose your life. That's bad ending number 22. Initially, you might curse at having such a character in the story, but if you play Sylvania's Failed Swordsman to the end, you'll come to understand the developer's intention and inwardly admire it. Though it's simple, the intention is significant. The position assigned to Lortel, Cahalnan, Sylvania's Failed Swordsman, is that of a hidden heroine. A character standing in contrast to the just and benevolent Princess Finia. Lortel, who is only treated as a target for subjugation, reveals her true nature as the story progresses towards the climax. The reversal of her appraisal and the unexpected gap captivate the players, gradually convincing them to understand Lortel's perspectives. She had to always discuss profit and loss and was forced to view the world through cold calculations. Her life scoring for bread thrown away by others in the slums, the ideals she held up amidst deception and fraud, and the persistent loneliness that never fades despite acquiring vast wealth. As Lortel's evaluation gradually recovers from the bottom, players come to understand the loneliness carved into her life at a critical moment. Will you side with the kind Princess Finia leading the Student Council, or will you side with the Golden Daughter Tel leading the group? The Merchant Group, will you support the noble ideals and idealism shown by the high and mighty Princess Finia, or will you back Lortel, who has fought against loneliness in a harsh reality, much like the wilds. New players of Sylvania's failed swordsman find themselves deep in thought at this point. So much so, they might spend nearly 20 minutes unable to breathe while facing this choice. Excuse me. Senior Ed. Basically, the relentless drive towards bad endings in Act 1 is indeed intentional. Repeated experience with bad endings consciously makes one avoid contact with Lortel, leading to a psychological rift. The larger this rift, the more dramatic the eventual reversal of appraisal becomes. A true harmony of system and story. Wow, it truly is a god-tier game. A masterpiece indeed. Senior, can you not hear me? Even upon reflection, it remains remarkable. Walking down the street, I nodded satisfied. But that's another story. How long do you plan to follow me? I had no idea you'd ignore me to the point of gritting your teeth. What a surprise. Well, then, ignoring with gritted teeth it is. Isn't that obvious? Ooh, setting the right atmosphere for whatever you do is a good practice. Exciting. The lecture on elemental studies in the faculty building. There she is, Lortel, seated demurely on a bench, throwing deep and meaningful phrases at me. It's not bad. Do you want to purchase 2 hours of your time? Senior Ed. That's definitely a solid start. The counterpart is none other than the Golden Daughter herself, Lortel. When such a person appears out of the blue with a proposition, it's natural for one's curiosity to pique. Typically, one would start with questions. What do you mean by purchasing 2 hours? What do you intend to have me do? If you're buying, does that mean you'll pay me? How much? And will you pay on the spot? What's your ulterior motive? Faced with such questions, Lortel would respond with a significant smile and slowly continue speaking. This must be the picture that Lortel had painted. I'd naturally be the one asking, and she'd manipulate and dodge my curious inquiries, seizing control of the situation. Coupled with Lortel's skill in sharp-tongued speech, negotiation, and rhetoric, it would be no surprise to find myself having for her proposition before I even knew what was happening. It's a deal. Then. But that's when I didn't know her intentions. You might be willing to listen to a story or two, right? As I ignored Lortel's expectations and strode ahead, breaking all her predicted developments, she finally started to follow me. She had to almost run to keep up due to the difference in our strides, but I didn't slow down for her. I heard life has been tough since you were expelled. I thought maybe I could offer some help. Save it if you don't mean it. Oh, dear. Exchanging pleasantries is more important than you think. It shows that you respect the other person. Despite my somewhat rude behavior, she seemed unperturbed, which must be in her nature. Finally catching up to me with a skip in her step, Lortel flashed a childishly charming smile, her hands clasped behind her back. Won't you listen to my offer? It's not a bad one. You know, she implied as she playfully hovered at my side. I was truly moved by what I saw in you, Senior Ed. And she said it with such theatrically feigned sincerity. Of course, I've heard a rumor that you might be a little arrogant and self-centered, but I didn't hear that. Aha. Despite knowing full well the dreadful reputation of Ed Roth-Taylor, she quickly glossed over those points with rapid-fire delivery. When I see someone persevering in their studies despite such difficult circumstances, it's only human nature to want to lend a hand. I too have known the pangs of hunger and poverty. So, an advance payment of 3 plen gold coins. A maid living in Deck's dorm where ordinary students stay would work a whole month to earn that amount. Having those shiny gold coins, 20 in total, would mean not worrying about next semester's tuition fees. I just want to be friends with Senior Yanika. While laughing, she didn't divulge the full details, but I already understood. The difference in values between Phinia and Lortel was a key conflict cutting across the Sylvania Academy's scenario. Ultimately, it matters whose side Taylor takes. Since that's uncertain at this moment, it seems premature to take sides. Can't you just introduce me? We can just go together, and the 3 of us can chat. It really wouldn't take more than an hour or so. You think someone like the Golden Daughter buys her connections with money? Fine. No pretenses then. Lortel took out 3 gold coins from her purse and stuffed them into my pocket. Just keep it for now. After all, I know it's always better to have more people on your side. Lortel seemed to have an intuitive understanding, given her life of watching. Weighing options, of course, she knew. The political battles she would face as an academic, and the fact that it was crucial to build as many alliances as possible now were clear. No gesture of concession or displays of consideration could narrow the gap between Princess Phinia and Lortel. As I watched silently, Lortel flashed me a sly smile once. Again. You look at me as if I'm pitiful, but most would be too busy hiding their delight at such an unexpected gift. With a grin, I replied, All right. Let's shake on it. Now one understood the essence of greed better than Lortel did. At least that's what she believed. Mad greed is like a dormant disease. It can be managed when times are good. But when cornered, when every penny counts, it gnaws at the human heart as if its time has come. Those with nothing for tomorrow, no place to sleep tonight, their eyes redden at the sight of money. Lortel, who came from the slums, knew exactly what that felt like. Moreover, the greater the fall, the stronger the power of greed that devours human hearts becomes. Those who have lived their lives in affluence crumble even in a moment of poorness. They have seen too many debtors take their lives, unable to withstand the shock. To crush those cornered isn't about a wealth of gold coins enough to bury a mansion. It's about a single, small coin. The amount of money doesn't matter. The same amount always makes the other person give up more. A penny's gold coin trades dignity. A penny's gold coin trades family. And a penny's gold coin finally sells oneself. The price of a penny's worth of gold remains unchanged, yet those desperate and lacking will always offer up increasingly more, because there's no other choice. Because that seems to be the only way out. Thus, the first time is what truly matters. The first time, the one time it seems okay, the penny's gold coin held in hand starts a disaster, pushing the desperate person towards the brink. It becomes the starting point and reason for all the schemes and tricks that follow. Preying on a desperate soul, is such an easy and simple task. Sadly enough, when I came to my senses, Ed Rothtaylor had already left, startled just for a moment. Huh, interesting. Watching Ed Rothtaylor's retreating back, Lortel smiled. In the small hand that had shaken his, the 3 gold coins she had stuffed in his pocket had quietly returned to her. A clear refusal of even the slightest connection. His actions seemed to suggest that he had understood all of Lortel's intentions from the very beginning.